Ash, have you noticed we've actually left the middle space and now we're going into the first container, which was where the sitting room was?
Oh, once we're back in the first container. And I love this bedroom. It's just so cozy and feels like a little cocoon. Yeah? It's
Really, I just love cozy. I mean, I think if you're coming home, you really need to have cozy.
Absolutely.
And this really actually captures it. Yeah. And what is so nice is, if you've noticed, that we actually have a slide door over
I love that.
Yeah.
But it's also like frosted glass, so you get the privacy.
Yeah.
And then it just slides back. Yeah.
In fact, I was just thinking, I may have actually been influenced by the Japanese. That you can open
you may have been,
close
and all the blind as well.
Yeah. And it really gives a good sense of being able to respond to how people are living in the space. Adds to what I call the props, to the choreography of the space and the movement and the dance, because I really think a house really needs to have that real sense of movement and props to really support it. In fact, one of my African-ness philosophies of this human ecology really looks at you don't build for people in, you actually have props to actually support what people do.
So you talk about props. What do you mean by props?
Well, this slide door here, and
I see.
And we have a place we can have the desk because people want to read. Yes. So everything becomes a prop. It becomes a support system. It doesn't become the focus.
And I think some of us have tendencies to bring in things like the focus, and then we add ourselves in.
Exactly.
And around, right?
So really, this gets a really lovely sense of a rhythm through the space, and this is what I really like. And it's responsive to how you're actually in the space. And
talk about rhythm. So what's the rhythm of your space? How would you describe your rhythm?
If I was really describing it, the consistency is like a violin, a violin that is really the foundation rhythm, or shall I say it's foundation sound, a really nice violin, which is quite high, but really quiet. And then on top of that, the movement of people through is like drumming, really drums, quiet, and they build up when there's excitement and come back down.
I love that. I love the way you put that. And I think that's a really good takeaway for anyone watching, that try and establish a rhythm and ask yourself, what kind of rhythm, how do I want my space to feel?
But one thing we don't realize, in a lot of African cultures, that is basic to us. Rhythm is basic to us. And if in our traditional languages, whenever we talk about, if we do direct translation about something, you sort of like, you hear touch, you hear taste, you hear feelings. And what it's really saying is your whole body is a listening tool. And that means rhythm. And so one of the things I've really said, from both dance and from designing, is, can we listen to the space? Can we listen to how that space wants to support us and how we live? And if you really want to go into it, can we listen to our ancestors and how they're going to be part and parcel of us in that space?
That's just so inspiring.
Yeah. So as you can see, we've left now the first container. Yes. And we've come to this extended bit, which is a veranda, which we have turf. And here's the space, well, I could say both my well-being and my study and things that are very much me. I love to read and write things. I love exercise. Of course, I dance. And then I love my meditation space over there, so that in the morning, when I wake up, I can actually meditate with the sun rising. Wonderful. I can also do my Pilates on the floor here.
I love this space because as you were saying, it works for you.
Oh, yeah.
The way you've designed your home is that everything that you need is here. And the fact that it's indoor, outdoor, the transition is seamless. It's a container home where you still have a beautiful outdoor space. There's even a massage.
It is a massage bed, which you can lie down out here if you want to. Yeah. And then this turf is wonderful because you literally feel you have grass here.
Because, you really inspired me in terms of using artificial lawn. I've seen it in magazines, but I've never actually thought about, bring it in. But I think it makes such a difference. It works really well.
And you can stay here till midnight very comfortably, see the moon rise also when the moon is coming up, and also chat here. This is my other little meditational space on my trampoline, which I also love. Yes. Also my reflective space when I'm writing stuff and want to really sort of get into it. It's wonderful. I really enjoy it. But what it really does say, it's so important to know what your habits are and what you find very important. And one thing I also find we tend to do is, even when we know what's important to us, we sometimes feel that we can't have it.
Or we ignore it sometimes.
Or you just feel you can't have it, or it'll be too expensive, or it's not possible, so we do away with it. And then we start having a stressful life in our own home. And that's something.
Because I love, I find what you're saying it resonates so much with my ethos in terms of well-being in the home. It's not about bringing things in or buying or just upgrading. It's about creating the space that feeds you. And you've done that so well here. So I think anyone watching can take this away and bring a little bit of that into their space.
Yeah, and if you want, some people want status. I know our parents, if you tell them you're having a container house, they're like, what? Why are you going to go into a container? But really, if you want a certain aspect of status, then it's just a question of the quality of things you put into your house, which really support the interaction and what is your character. So you can really have the status if you really think status is important.
Space.
Oh yeah, you really can.
Yeah. And I like the fact you haven't tried to minimize the fact that it's a container. I mean, the references to it all over. So the heritage is there in terms of.
Well, I wasn't going to pretend. Yeah. I was just going to say, as I said, this is my support system, and let me bring out what it can give me, not follow what its restrictions and limitations are. So that's what I've really played with. Yeah.
What kind of advice would you have to anyone who's thinking about designing a container space? What are the do's and don'ts?
Well, one thing I will say is a container house is built slightly different from a normal house. You have to think of your windows and your doors and what you want to cut at the beginning. That's the first thing you have to get right. If you get that wrong, it will affect the whole house. And we did have a slight situation here, but I used my design, creativity and innovation to sort of handle it. But one has to really watch that. The other thing is, make sure you have, I found I worked with artisans a lot, and I really had to understand their capacities in terms of being plumbers, being electricians, carpenters, and metal workers. And you really need what I call a technologist, which I think TUK has been wanting to work on, is get technologists.
Technologists?
Yes, well, that's one of the things we're missing in this country. We have technicians and we have the professionals, but we don't have the person who translates the design to work with the technician. So the person who understands the technical and he also understands the design and is the translator. That is what we're missing. And I found from this experience, I had to learn to be a technologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
But is somebody like me who may not be a technologist, how do we overcome these constraints?
And this is the challenge. I will have to say that is the challenge. Yes. You either find a very good architect who's going to give you that extra time, or some very good technicians that who work very well together. But you do need someone who can really do that translation from the design into the actuality. Okay. Yeah. And then work with the technical people to say this is how you want, and then detail. Detail.
The devil is in the detail.
Oh, I mean, I spent so much time with detail here. Till these people used to say, no, you can't be an African. You must be a Muzungu in the African body. And I say, why? I'd look at something and I say, that is 5 millimeters off, and they'll be like, what? How did she know? Just by looking.
But I think we need to get away from this concept that only the Africans are not interested in detail or perfection. I think that's one thing we need to get away from. You know, we can all be more focused on getting things right.
We can, although it's an exercise.
Yes,
you have
but
to
that's the whole point of exposing and showing beautiful spaces. So it's possible.
Yes, it is possible to really, whenever you go anywhere. Actually, another bit, whenever you go anywhere and you like a space, feel it out and what is it that you like about it, and look at the detail of it, because that is information you can use for your container house.
Thank you so much, Suki. This has been absolutely inspiring and so informative as well. I think you've really shown us how you can marry different cultures, different concepts, and really reinforce the feeling of well-being, you know, and then making the spaces work for you. So, and I think you've given us a lot that we can take away with, and hopefully you come on the show again and we can carry on the conversation.
I would love to.
So, hope this was helpful. Hope this is inspiring. Please comment. Are you thinking about a container home? What kind of lessons are you going to take away from this episode? Like this video, comment, share it with your friends. Please let us know what you feel, and keep watching. Subscribe, ping the notification bell, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.